Alright, let's go over self-test 8, which discusses quadratic functions. Let's start by finding the discriminant of this quadratic equation. To find the discriminant, all we have to do is do the b squared minus 4ac. In this case, b is negative 14, quantity squared, minus 4 times a is 1 and c is 7, so 4 times 1 times 7, and that's going to give me 196, as negative 14 times negative 14 is 196, and then minus 28, and that would give me the answer, which is 168. So again, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, and this is from the general quadratic equation formula, bx plus c equals 0. So we do the b squared minus 4 times a times c. In this case, b is negative 14, a is 1, and c is 7. The next question: find the coordinates of the vertex of the parabola. So we need to find the coordinate of the vertex of the parabola defined by the given quadratic function. So f of x is x squared plus 8x minus 2. So let's use the vertex formula. X of the vertex is equal to minus b over 2a. In this case, it is 8 over 2, which is negative 4. So minus b over 2a. b is 8, a is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, and the x of the vertex is negative 4. To find the y of the vertex, let's substitute negative 4 in the given quadratic equation. So negative 4 squared plus 8 times negative 4 minus 2. So all I did is substitute x for negative 4, or negative 4 for x. So this would be 16 minus 32 minus 2, and 16 minus 32 is just negative 16, and negative 16 minus 2 is negative 18. And so the coordinates of the vertex will be x negative 4 and y negative 18, which is C in the multiple choice answer. Let's look at number 3, and number 3 we need to sketch the graph of the quadratic function. So here is how we sketch the graph of the given function, which is f of x equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 8. So we can find the vertex. Let's find the vertex in this case. So x of the vertex is equal to negative b over 2a. Negative b is negative 2, 2a, a is negative 1. Now we have 3 negatives, so the answer should be negative, and 2 over 2 is 1. So x is negative 1. Let's find the corresponding value of y. Negative, make sure you have negative 1 squared. Instead of x, you put negative 1 squared, minus 2 times negative 1 plus 8. So negative 1 squared is plus 1, and plus 1 times negative is negative. So that would be negative 1 plus 2 plus 8. And therefore we have 10 minus 1 is 9. And that would be the y coordinate of the vertex. So the coordinates of the vertex is negative 1, 9, and if you look at the graph, this one has negative 1, 9. Now this curve is concave down because the a is negative 1. So if a is less than 0, the curve is concave down and we have a maximum. If a is greater than 0, the curve is concave up and we have a minimum. In this case, it's a maximum, and therefore it's concave down, and therefore we have a maximum. Now we need also to find the intercept. To find the intercept of this quadratic, the easy one is to find the y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, just substitute x equals 0, and therefore y would be equal to 0, 0, and 8, so it'd be 8, so it'd be 0, 8. To find the x-intercept, we need to equate everything to 0, so you have negative x squared minus 2x plus 8 equal to 0. If you multiply everything by negative, so to make the x squared positive, this becomes x squared plus 2x minus 8 equal to 0. Let's factor. You want the product to be negative 8 and the sum to be plus 2. So the product negative 8 is going to be negative 4 times 2 or negative 2 times plus 4. But the sum is plus 2, so we're going to take negative 2 and then plus 4, because 4 plus negative 2 is plus 2. And therefore x is either plus 2 or x is negative 4, and that would be the x-intercept. Finally, what is the equation of the symmetry? Equation of the axes of symmetry. And notice that always the equation of the axes of symmetry is the x-coordinate of the vertex. It should be x equals negative 1. And notice A satisfy all these properties, and A is the final answer. Let's look at number 4. Sketch the graph of the quadratic function. So to sketch the graph given the quadratic function f of x equals x plus 3 quantity squared minus 9. If you compare this function to the standard equation, which is a into x plus or x minus h quantity squared plus k, we notice that h in this case, if you put a minus here, h would be negative 3 and k would be negative 9. So the vertex is at negative 3, negative 9. And so if you want to plot this graph, then you have 1, 2, 3, and then down negative 9. And therefore, as you see, this one has moved to the left 1, 2, 3, and down 9, and that would be the final answer. What we can do also is find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So put x equals 0. If you put x equals 0, you will find the y-intercept. Y would be 0 plus 3 quantity squared, that would be 9, minus 9, 0. So the y-intercept is going to go through the origin here. So that's 0, 0. To find the x-intercept, what we can do is equate the whole equation to 0, or put y equals 0. We end up with x plus 3 quantity squared minus 9 equals 0. Again, we're trying to find the x-intercept. We substitute y equals 0, add 9 to both sides. We're going to use the square root property here. So we have x plus 3 quantity squared equals 9. Take the square roots on both sides. You have x plus 3 equal plus or minus square root of 9, which is plus or minus 3. And therefore, if you subtract 3 from both sides, you will end up with x equals minus 3 plus or minus 3. So one of the solution would be 0, and the other solution would be negative 6. So also it satisfies here. The x-intercept is negative 6 and 0. The vertex is negative 3, negative 9. The y-intercept at 0, 0. And of course the axis of symmetry is always equal to the x-coordinate of the vertex. And in this case it is negative 3. So x equals negative 3 is the axis of symmetry. And of course A is the correct answer. Let's go to the next question, which is number 5. The graph of the function is given. We need to find the equation. So if we are given, we have the multiple choice here, and so if we can figure out the coordinates of the vertex, which is negative 3 plus 3, these are the vertex. And we notice that everyone has an a equals 1, so we don't have to worry about a. So we're going to say f of x equals a, which is 1, x minus h, what is h in this case? Negative 3, quantity squared, plus k, and k is 3 in this case. So let's simplify. This would be negative negative is positive, and that's a plus 3. So f of x is x plus 3 quantity squared plus 3, and that would be part C is the final answer. Let's look at number 6, and on number 6 we need to graph Let's do number 6. On number 6, the graph of a quadratic function is given. Determine the function range. And the function goes from minus infinity to plus infinity. We look at the y values. It starts at negative 1 and goes to plus infinity. So you either say y is greater than or equal to negative 1, or it's in order. This is the set builder notation. Or you can do it in order pairs, interval notation, minus 1 to plus infinity. Since in this case they want us to write it in a set builder notation, we have to do it this way, y such that y is greater or equal to negative 1. Again, this is the range. If the question was about the domain, then it can be all real numbers or minus infinity plus infinity. But the range has a limit here at minus 1, and it goes up to plus infinity. Solve the equation by the method of your choice. Simplify solutions if possible. So let's go ahead and use the quadratic equation. Since this, as you see, you can look at the answer, it involves radicals, so we need to do the quadratic equation, quadratic formula. 6x squared plus 12x, add 2 to both sides, plus 2 equals 0. Notice everything is divisible by 2, so this would be 3x squared plus 6x plus 1 equals 0. Use the quadratic formula. X equals minus b, which is negative 6, plus or minus b squared, that would be 36, 6 times 6, 36, minus 4 times a times 1 over 2a. That's the quadratic formula. So let's simplify. Negative 6 plus or minus 32 minus 12. 32 minus 12 is just 20 over 2 times a, or 2 times 3. This is 3 here. So that would be 6. So let's simplify one more time. 20 is nothing but 4 times 6, and 4 will come out as 2. 6 will stay inside the radical. And if you divide everything by 2, you will end up with, let me show you how to do this. If you do negative 6 over 6 plus or minus 2 over 6 square root of 6, divide only by 2, so you get 3 here, 3 here, 2 by 2, 1, 6 by 2 is 3. So we have 3 in the denominator, negative 3 plus or minus square root of 6 over 3 would be the final answer. Okay, and that the option would be A. So of course you can split the fraction and do one more step, but they want us to stop here. So let's go with this as the final step. On the next question, number 8, solve the equation by the method of your choice. So we can solve this equation by any method, and this is a binomial, so we can do GCF. That would be the best way to solve this problem. So we take x as a common factor, equate each one to 0, so x equals 0, or x equals negative 4. Of course, you have to write it as x plus 4 equals 0, subtract 4 from both sides. So this would be the two solutions for this problem, 0 and negative 4, and that would be C is the final answer. C is the answer. And this should be a braces, not a parentheses. On number 9, solve the equation by the method of your choice. So we can do 6x squared plus 23x plus 2 equals minus 18. If you add 18 to both sides, you will end up with 6x squared plus 23x plus 20 equal to 0. So they want us to solve this by any method, and this can be factored, because notice when you have the answers in fractions or whole numbers, that means it's easy to factor. Otherwise you have to use the quadratic formula. So let's try to factor this problem here. How do we get 6x squared? It's 3x times 2x would be the best option, and 20 is 4 times 5, but I want to get the 23x in the middle. So if I put here 4 here, I get 12 and put 5 here, I get 10. 12 and 10 is 22. It's not going to give me the answer. Let me try 5 here and 4 here. This is 15x and this is 8x, and the sum is 23x, so that's the best option. And therefore if you equate the first factor to 0, 3x plus 4 equals 0, subtract 4 from both sides, you get 3x equals negative 4, and then divide by 3. That would be the first solution, negative 4 over 3. And the second solution would be negative 5 over 2. And that would be the final answer for number 9. On number 10, we have to solve also using any method, and the best way to solve this problem is to use the square root property method. And let me show you how to do this. 2 times x minus 1 quantity squared. You can add 3 to both sides, and this will give you 50. If you can divide both sides by 2 to simplify, you get x minus 1 quantity squared equals 25. You do the square root on both sides, and make sure don't forget the plus or minus. When you do square root, the square root will cancel with the square, and therefore you will end up with x minus 1. And therefore add 1 to both sides. This would be 1 plus or minus 5, square root of 25. So one option would be 1 plus 5, 6, and the second option 1 minus 5, negative 4. So negative 4 and 6 is the final answer, and this is the end of the session. Good luck.